Hello and welcome to Apocalypse Keys. It is a Powered by the Apocalypse inspired game. It is done by Sword of Queen Games and Evil Hat Productions. Um, I am your key master, Starshare Stories. I go by she, they. I run this lovely channel called The Starfield. And you can find me under most iterations of Starshare Stories on most corners of the internet, such as Blue Sky, TikTok, Discord, and I think and Instagram and Threads. Um I also host a bunch of other shows on this channel, such as Gen Meta. I host them. Werewolf the Apocalypse, anything World of Darkness. And you can also eventually find me on Gehenna Gaming's official channel for a mini series of their Eldritch Automata game, and it is going to be called Violence Against Nature. Um, I would love to announce the crew. It is Sphinx Akasha, Madness Diamond, myself, Blackwell, Renowned, myself, and our lovely events coordinator at Gehenna Gaming, known as Eric, and it is ran by a GM known as Just Kyle. Tune in for whenever that's gonna air. I don't know when it's gonna air, but we are here, and we are going to start with Canterbury, who's going to be played by Basil.
Yep. Hi, everyone. I'm Basil. My pronouns are he, they, z. I'm playing Canterbury Bell. They, them. They just go by Canterbury. Nobody uses their full name except their terrible handler. Canterbury is basically just, a little person just trying to do their best, but they're burnt out and tired and probably on their 10th pot of coffee. You can find me pretty much mostly Blue Sky. I have a Twitter, but it's dead now. It's still there, but I don't post. So you can find me on Blue Sky. I also have a website, towerofbasil.wordpress.com. When I'm not doing actual plays, I design my own games. You can find those on Itch. I'm on Blue Sky as Kobania, and that's the same thing for the Itch. So excited and happy to finally play Apocalypse Keys. First time. Woo!
Raka, aka Mara.
Hello, my name is Mara. My pronouns are they, she. First of all, you can find me most places on the internet at Mara F Games. I currently play in a Monster of the Week actual play called The Art of Resistance, which is just about wrapped up. I also pop up in one-shots here or there, and I'm looking forward to getting into more APs as time goes on. I play Raka, who is the Fallen playbook for Apocalypse Keys. Her full name is Arakaste, the goddess of victory and success, or rather, the fallen goddess of victory and success. She is very tall and has 4 arms and it incites a bit of terror into most mortals she comes across. Yeah, they're monstrous. Yeah. And that is Raka.
Sassy, aka Zoop.
Hey, I'm Zoop or Zoop Machine or Supriya. You can call me whatever you want, but don't call me late to the launch. I want to get out of this world. No, I'm kidding. So you can see what I'm doing if you check out my card, zoopmachine.card.co, and Zoop Machine is the title that you can find me pretty much all over the internet. I would say my big permanent gig right now is I am going to be having my debut soon as co-DM of Game Master Monday, the podcast, where we play a new TTRPG almost every week. Sometimes there's miniseries. And I'm very excited about that. And I also show up on a whole bunch of different channels, including this one. And I really love games. I am playing Sasquatch, the Last Bigfoot. Sassy is 7 foot 2 inches tall, a broad woman, with you guessed it, big feet. And she has long black hair, dark skin with vertigo. Instead of white patches, she has dark patches, very much void colored throughout her body. And she's often seen wearing a whole suit of furs, looking a little bit like a Wookiee, or perhaps what you know as Sasquatch. Oh, her pronouns are she, her, and so are mine.
All right. Welcome back. Our group is deciding now what key potentially works with which facet. So they can do the unlock Doom's Door mechanic, which is basically nearing the end of our lovely mystery for Division. So our following keys were, let me pull it up. We had our shadow key, which was the files that were at the very beginning of the game with the missing people or the mysterious deaths that didn't have a lot of information. There's the hotel key that Canterbury received. That was of a broken heart with the inverted pyramid. There was the Bigfoot floppy disk that had apparently Sassy's interview or intake into Division. The Forget-Me-Nots, which were found in the greenhouse. The oldest witch's heart that was given to Raka. And then the old photo that was found in Amina's, yet also not Amina's, but is Amina's office, that switched and changed. That there was a phone on it. And your facets that you are trying to figure out are missing memories, time restarting, the Harbinger, the Door of Power, and Division's connection with the oldest house. And your clock timer is at 5. Once it reaches to 8, the Harbinger wins.
So we think the Forget-Me-Nots connect to the missing memories.
Okay.
For sure. The Harbinger could connect to the old photo. Or Bigfoot floppy disk.
Okay.
Bigfoot floppy disk is a red herring. What do you two think?
Yeah, I think I was going to say that. I think so too. The floppy disk being a red herring.
I'm having a hard time connecting it to anything other than missing memories, but the fact that like it seems not true seems being, I suppose, the key word there.
I mean, the only thing that I think is helpful there is anger and Amina.
Is there a chance the floppy disk helps connect Division to the house?
I can't answer that.
The way Amina is entering, meaning that like Amina is the connection between Division and the oldest house, in the way that she's kind of inserting, or the way Faye is sort of inserting Faye's self into the situation. Is that what you mean, Mara?
I think so, or even just like that it was supposed evidence of your like intake interview, and like that it like represents like, yeah, I mean, like Amina being there when Amina wasn't actually there. I do like your explanation too. Yeah.
Okay, so Bigfoot, floppy disk, division connection. So then we think that the old photo is the harbinger? Because the other option is the Bigfoot floppy disk could be connected to the harbinger, saying that Amina is the harbinger. What do you think, Basil?
I don't know. I'm not the best at solving mysteries. I'm sitting over here trying to think about it.
I feel that on a whole personal level.
I did not do well at Clue ever. Briar always wins. I mean, I think the photo could be the harbinger. I mean, honestly, any of these keys, like it feels like any of them could go to the facet, but I feel like maybe the photo. Actually, okay, so we know that we saw in that photo, we saw that angel in the halo and whatever, but before that, we saw somebody dressed in like 1920 styled clothes, right? Did we recognize that person?
Which one?
The
Person
gangster and flappers, 1920s.
You did. There's Amina. There's also the oldest witch. And also Sister Midnight.
Okay, I don't think we had that information before.
That is
Maybe we did.
That is my bad. I did not give you that information.
That
Okay.
is okay. So
okay, well, in that case, if it has the three of them in there, and we've encountered two of them at least in the oldest house and one of them in Division, maybe that's Division's connection then?
okay.
Rather than Amina being a harbinger, Fair is being used as a puppet because Fair has that connection with the witch and Sister Midnight. And that's why the witch was saying that Fair was like a puppet and not actually the person, like the mastermind.
Maybe the
that I'm sure Faye
files,
wants to be.
Maybe the odd files has to do with time restarting. Maybe time is restarting at that time when the person died, whose autopsy we found.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Because I don't think based off of like all the keys that we have that aren't the shadow key, I don't think any of them match to time restarting other than the files.
And then we think that the hotel key is the door of power.
It's either that or the witch's heart. I guess it sort of depends like how literal I guess you want to take the door. Like, does the door actually need like a key or not? And you can't combine keys, right? Like we can't use key 1 with key 4.
I wish, but no.
Okay, so forget-me-nots, missing memories, old photo, division connection, time restarting, odd file, oldest witch's heart, door of power. Then what is the harbinger?
What does that leave us? That leaves us like the floppy disk and the hotel key.
Yeah.
I mean, when Sassy touched the pyramid, that advanced the clock, and when this might be meta gaming a little, but when the clock hits 8, the harbinger wins. So does that mean that black pyramid is associated with the Harbinger. And so the keychain on the key with the, the black pyramid and the broken heart and all the weird visions we've been having of like loneliness and whatnot, all of that could be the Harbinger.
Is there nothing saying the Black Pyramid isn't the Harbinger itself?
True. That's true. It could be. I don't think we found any evidence to the contrary.
Okay.
It could just like have like a, like when you're fighting a boss and like first it's like, mobile and moving around, but then it kind of turns into like this kind of giant death machine. It could be like that. Like maybe maybe the floating pyramid is its final form.
Okay, so Forget-Me-Nots, Missing Memories, Old Photo, Division Connection, Time Restarting is the odd file, the Door of Power is the Oldest Witch's Heart, and the Hotel Key is connected to the Harbinger.
I think that's all the excuse me, sorry. I think that's all the keys that need to match.
Okay.
Because I guess technically if we're wrong, we could always try again,
Yep.
and then maybe I could do
time
hero.
just moves. Time just moves.
I was like,
the clock.
We could try again, and I could try to do Hero of Hell.
Yeah, you have 3 guesses, so
Yeah.
you have 3 chances.
Okay.
Okay.
So declare what the door is and how to unlock it.
Yes. What do you believe the door is?
The Oldest Witch's Heart.
Okay. Now, which key connects to what?
So Forget-Me-Nots to Missing Memories, Old Photo to Division Connection, Odd File to Time Restarting, Door of Power to the Oldest Witch's Heart, and the Hotel Key to the Harbinger.
Okay. So this is how this is going to work, because I misread it earlier. So you are going to roll, and how many connected keys is an additional to your total, and then we subtract the complexity.
Yeah.
So you have a +5 to your roll.
We did it.
Meaning we got all of the keys right?
Yes.
Okay. And then we
Roll.
have a -8 for the...
After you roll your total.
After we roll our total, it's a -8.
Yes.
Does everyone roll or just one person?
One person.
Okay, well, not me. I've been rolling like shit.
So altogether, it's a -3.
Yeah, from your no, you roll +5.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what is your total? Your 2d6 +5.
Okay.
And then we will subtract 8 from that.
My computer has frozen. Okay. Who wants to roll? I think Mara's been doing the best.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
I don't like the odds. I just did the odds in my head. I like those odds a bit better. So I rolled an 11 on the die.
So you roll
+5 is 16, -8 is 8.
Okay. You have tracked down the Doom's door.
Holy crap.
You know exactly where it is. Raka, in this moment, you just shove that stone door open and the heart starts beating quickly. And you go in and you're in the coffee room where it all started.
I presume I've put Joe down at this point.
You put Joe down. And you see the angelic figure just staring at you. Glitching, things starting to fade away in the room, like things are getting undone. But the instinct in you tells you to take that key. You just shove it right into that heart, the key that you had earlier, and you twist. And on this moment, you need to protect Canterbury, you need to protect Sassy, you need to protect Joe. And in the corner of the room, you see a knockdown Amina. Amina's here too. Wow, I know.
Okay.
At this moment, everything clicks. You thought it was the god of war that turned you to have your fall. No. This is a god of undoing. A god that was supposedly a god of time and fate, fallen just like you are. They designed your fate. They designed Sassy's fate. They designed Canterbury being assigned to Amina. And at this point, you all can decide to take down this thing. You have to take it down. Things will go back to normal if you take it down. You have to. If not, everything will be undone, unmade, or changed to how this god wants things to be. Its own reality.
And I do not want to be unmade.
No. No one wants to be unmade.
So how does it defeating a harbinger work in this game?
You can kill it. Knock the shit out of it. You can banish it to the ether. Whatever you may do, it can end it.
If no one has any objections, Canterbury would like to dog walk the Harbinger and beat it up for all of the frustration they have been going through on this terrible adventure.
Absolutely. I was just thinking about the philosophical question of what happens when you undo the undoer.
You don't know.
Clip into the back room.
All right. Well, I found myself in stranger places.
Canterbury.
Yes, I would like to use Canterbury's special skill, their playbook move. I would like to use eruption. So I think probably like how this looks is Raka has pushed open the door and set, Joe down and everything. And, Canterbury was in the process of trying to calm down, deep breath in, deep breath out, woosah, woosah, go to your happy place, your like, sleep burrito. And is like, followed Raka in and kind of, because Raka is just so tall, just kind of like leans over to see what's going on, sees the Harbinger, kind of raises a brow, sees Amina on the ground. And for like, not Canterbury's proudest moment, but for like a brief moment, it's like, wait, is Fair dead? Am I free? And then it's like, oh, no, Fair's breathing.
Yep. Fair breathing.
And I think like trying so hard still to stay in control, but just so pissed off. It's just like, that could have, as grim as it is, that would have been the upside for Canterbury, just to finally be free. They definitely would have given them a new handler, but at least it would have been someone new. You could start over. You could maybe have a more decent relationship, but it's like, oh no, you're still here. And now what is this? This thing is here in my coffee room, like my sanctuary away from Amina for the most part. So when you admit that you lack the strength to tackle the problem on your own and recede into the hot, grasping flames of your fury violently transforms your body into the perfect weapon for this moment. Excuse me. So I am going to spend 3 darkness tokens. So let me mark that before I forget, because I don't want Canterbury to get torn between again. So we're gonna try to fix that. Okay, and then I just need to roll. So let me do that.
And what are we rolling?
I am just rolling a basic 2d6 to figure out whether I managed to use the fury correctly or whether this just kind of turns into a bigger problem for everyone else.
Let's go.
I do think, like, before anything happens, I do think Canterbury just looks at this thing that they don't even know what it is. Like, I think, like, Raka definitely, knows, oh, this is a god. To Canterbury, this is just some schmuck in the coffee room, taking up space, too close to the coffee pot, because the coffee pot's probably glitching out. Like, you're messing with the beans, bro. You're messing with the beans. And it's just, like, hisses at them, get out! So let's see what we get. Let me mute myself. All that clacking.
You're fine.
You're muted.
Oh, I know. That's not great.
Okay.
That's why I didn't roll for this mystery. So in total, having spent 3 darkness tokens and getting a 3 on the die, that's a 6.
Oh no.
Yeah, I thought this was gonna happen.
Spending a bond with someone will not help you.
It can. It's before or after a roll.
Right, but it's a 6, so even a 7 is a failure.
Depending, they can use multiple bonds.
Oh.
Canterbury, we have multiple bonds together. Please, if it helps.
Yes. Although I think I spent a bond with you earlier, so that'll technically put us at like 0 bond. But I can spend a bond with you and Sassy, and that will push it to an 8.
Okay.
Which I should definitely do, because otherwise it's just the poor coffee room. Okay, so I will do that. Let me mark that I've done that. Oops. Wrong PDF file. Okay, hold on. Okay, so that's it. And 4. Actually, I have a question.
Yes.
Because I have a bond with my fury, could I spend that, or can I not, because I'm using my fury to bust stuff up?
You can spend it.
Okay. Because I don't want to lose all my points with Raka, because I only have 1 left.
It doesn't change your relationship with your fury, so you can spend it if you want. Bonds are bonds.
Okay. Yeah. Are you cool with that, Mara, or did you want me to spend the 1?
No, it's okay.
Okay, I'll put it back then. Okay, I will do that and spend for the fury. Okay, so then that makes it an 8. So on an 8 to 10, the form your fury grants you is finely calibrated to the necessary destruction. Choose 2. Your fury rushes out like a flash flood, deal massive monstrous damage to a target, inflict 2 conditions on them. You become like a harbinger in all your glorious fury, force an enemy that is more powerful than you to stand down in awe of what you may one day become, gain 1 bond with the harbinger that lurks within you. The raw monstrousness of your fury is staggering and beautiful. Other monsters are drawn to your displays of violence, gain 1 bond with another PC. The boundary between you and your fury grows ever hazier as you find yourself relishing the destruction you wreak, gain a bond with your fury. Your fury worms its way to your very core, reshaping you in explosive and immutable ways. permanently rewrite a condition to better reflect the tempestuous nature of your fury. I do think the very first one I'm going to pick is your fury rushes out like a flash flood, and I'll inflict 2 conditions. Actually, I have a question. Since we're trying to get rid of this harbinger, does it make sense to put conditions on them? Would that count as like defeating them and like stopping the apocalypse?
It can, yes. It can cause it to shut down completely, yes.
Okay, because I'm like, otherwise maybe I should just go for the second one and just...
Okay. So...
Well, but see, now I have a question, because specifically, the second option makes an enemy more powerful than me stand down. So...
You can do either.
Okay, let me think. Because one is like a potentiality, but one is a certainty. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pick that second option. So I will gain a bond with my harbinger. So I'll make a note.
Okay.
+1 to harbinger inside Canterbury. Okay. So I will do that, and then I don't want to do that or that. No, you know what? I think I did all that deliberating, but I think I'm gonna pick the first option as well. So I want to gain a bond with my harbinger, but then I also want to deal massive monstrous damage to this target and inflict 2 conditions on them.
Okay. So the conditions it can get are the following: introspective, haunted, merciless, lonely, and raging.
I think one of them for sure, introspective. That was an option, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then can you repeat the other ones?
Okay, 1 second. I'm writing this down for my notes. Haunted, merciless, lonely, and raging.
I think I'm gonna go with haunted.
Interesting. Okay. And what was the other option you chose?
The other option is that let me scroll back to eruption. I become like a harbinger in all your glorious fury. I force them to stand down in awe of what you may one day become.
All right. Lock and load, and describe to me how you do this.
Yes. So I think, Canterbury kind of leans and it's just like, what are we? Oh, what? The beans! Get out! And there is like the flames again and this surging power, except this time it is way more than anyone has seen Canterbury do it before. Like there are sigils appearing, not just like from their body, but on the walls, on the floor, on the ceiling, on the floor, like floating in the air, turning like a doomsday clock. And you see Canterbury transform into you see the mask appear first, like it just beads up like drips of ink and just spreads across their face. Their locks turn into braids and up into high ponytail and like lightens in color, so it's more of a bleached blonde. And the wings burst forth from their back and the horns form and the eyes fill with black and their green eyes glow, and they have become Ursinia, and they just like are glowing with this malevolent power, this magical energy. And I think I forgot to mention at the start of the session when I did ego death, specifically, I gained a bond with my fury to swap out one of my powers of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the question I have to ask myself is, what does your fury crave that you do not want it to have? And I think what my fury craves is the same thing as like what the darkness demands of Canterbury, which is in this moment to be the last one standing at the end. And in order to do that, they need to show their power. People need to know who they are, that Canterbury is, that person. They are in charge, whether they want to be or not. So I swapped out horrific transformation into a deadly form, instead into inhuman strength and agility. So I think, after that transformation, they just surge ahead and just grab on to this harbinger. And from what I remember, the harbinger, pretty much everyone is taller than Canterbury. But I think in this moment, they just drag that being down to like what would be eye level, and just like say in an echoing voice, like, you will know me. You will know of my coming. And it's just like forcing them to kneel.
The eyes widen for a moment, and there's a shudder coming from it as the wings fold in and their knees buckle beneath them. It's quiet. And echoing sobs begin to fill the room. The house begins to shudder in response to this. The cat sitting in the doorway just stares at the being, crumpled on the ground. The cat does not come closer, but there is a look of sorrow in the cat's eyes, seeing the scene before them. The runes begin to fade off the cat. The more this being cries and sobs. Raka, this feels familiar as to the day you fell the fall from grace. It's very haunting, almost identical, familiar. No fight left in him. None. After that power display from Canterbury, a display that is uncommonly seen for reasons you now know. This is why Canterbury has a handler. Sassy, you recognize the feeling of loneliness. Was this being lonely and wanted to undo everything just to have something of its own again? Its motivations almost feel identical to yours. Bringing something back. It sits there just crying, its body glitching. Parts of the wings begin to vanish. It's as if one would say the last follower of a god, there's always a story about if a god runs out of people that believe in them, their existence ceased to exist. It cries. I just wanted to see them one last time.
I think at this point, Sassy will put a hand on the fury that was Canterbury and step forward and kneel next to this crying monster.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, who did you want to see again?
You look just like her. You look just like her.
Seen anyone like me in a long time. Do you mean that I look just like me?
Similar, not quite like identical to you.
Well, everyone else is gone.
I know.
And we can't bring them back.
This is why I built the house. To try if someone dreamed hard enough, it would come into existence.
I don't think the world works that way.
I mean, this house birthed many myths and folk tales and such, so there was always a chance. And they're continuing to fade as more glitches and more dust, and they're showing their age. They are ancient, old. They may be able to say one more thing before they fade away into the nothingness.
I'll hold your grief for you.
Thank you. Everything begins to shudder, twist, contort, like the house is struggling to stand. And yet, when you all blink, they're back at the coffee maker in the main office. There's Joe just standing there, just staring at you all. I'm not a bird, okay? I'm not a camera.
Am I still in my fury form?
Oh, would you like to be?
I mean, yeah, I don't think time has passed. I think Canterbury is still Ursinia.
Holy shit. Amina? Amina? Amina?
I think one other thing is happening. So I asked someone to tell me of their past.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a pretty significant person, so I think I gained 2 or more darkness tokens, which means that I have to now choose between what the darkness demands of me. And the mission. And I think it says, so I guess this is torn between. So when you are torn between your monstrous nature and your human heart, or when you are tempted by what the darkness demands of you, make a choice.
Yep.
Let your monstrous nature show, describe the damage your outbursts causes, describe how you diminish your power, or spend a bond with someone. And I think I'd like to spend a bond with Raka and with Burr.
Okay. Describe how they directly or inadvertently help you regain control.
They both experience the same thing as me, and I think one of the things that happens is that Burr is still in their fury form, which means that this wasn't all a dream, because we have returned back to a moment, and it would be so easy to think that this was just a dream and that I have to hold all the grief myself. Because I don't know who else was in the dream with me, but because Canterbury is still in fury form, that means, you know, in my memory when we were there, Canterbury wasn't in fury form. So if they're in fury form now, that means that they were there directly with me experiencing this. And if they were there, that means Raka was there. And this time I can share the grief with these two. And create a future with them.
Hooves are sounding on the floor as Amina comes into view. Fair stares up at Canterbury for a moment. Do I want to know?
We solved a mystery. Leave me alone.
If you need me, I will be in the director's office.
Should be clear, that's not your office, right?
It is my office.
The director and Canterbury's handler?
Yes. It was easier just to keep an eye on them as the handler while being the director. I don't trust anybody else to handle it.
Do I remember, has this always been true?
It's a little foggy, but it rings true.
Okay. Yeah, I knew that.
Hey, Raka. You have markings, correct?
I have crackling veins of gold and black.
Among the gold and black, there's two pyramids on the back of each of your hands. One is an upright gold one. One is an upside down black one.
Stranger things have happened.
Come into my office later, Raka. We need to update your paperwork.
You insist.
Fair looks at Canterbury one more time. And I guess you can have your promotion, finally. Okay? I will leave
I think
you
it,
fuck alone.
yeah, I think definitely at that, finally, Ursinia becomes Canterbury again and just like shoves their hands in their pockets and just goes, "Great. I'm so thankful. Thank you, boss. Wahoo."
Yeah.
And then just turns to face the coffee machine.
Yeah, as Fair about to leave, Amina looks over. You're in charge of the hiring process now, and walks out.
You start hearing the clattering of the coffee pot as Canterbury went to grab it and is just like shaking it, like, "Yeah, this is, yeah, love this," and like increasing slaps on the side of the counter with her other hand. "Yeah, woo, upward advancement, what I always dreamed of. This was my childhood dream. I love my job." uh,
Sassy notices that Raka is getting her file updated and Canterbury has been promoted, and she's just here with the grief, so she's gonna feel lonely and rejection again.
You feel a bit of warmth rub against your legs, and a small meow.
I look down.
There's a lavender sphinx cat just sitting there with a little tag on its neck.
What does the tag say?
What would you like it to say? On the front.
I would like it to say Yeti.
Yeti's on the front, and on the back, briefly, you can see, take good care of them.
And Sassy feels a little less alone.
The rest of the day goes like any other office day, upgrading paperwork, new jobs, orientations for some, getting products for a cat for others. All of you had a moment that showed, yes, you can be monstrous, but at the same time, you know how to control it, grip it. Canterbury got a promotion. Raka has gained a new title, and godhood has been reinstated. There are now several followers in the office. Sassy realizes, yes, you can grieve and still remember everything of things that are lost, but at the same time, grief has multiple stages that you can bounce back and forth all the time. But yet, Sassy has hit the acceptance stage. Though, as division closes for the evening, you all can either go to your respective homes, sleep in the side rooms, or go out for drinks. You know this is the actual reality. Though, in a corner of an alley, there's an old red door. It shudders for a moment, and you see it out of the glimpse of an eye, and then it just vanishes. And that, the apocalypse had been averted yet another time. Y'all did it.
Yay!